Welcome back. All right, so in some cases, teams seem to really need that break and seem to come back pretty well. Other teams, maybe not as much. More scoring in the early games, not as much scoring when you get to the later games, but here we are. Yeah, we had 6 games tonight. We still have 7 games scheduled for tomorrow. There were supposed to be 11 games tonight, which means that all these games getting postponed, if they're going to hit the 82 game mark, I'm going to have some really, really busy days. Really busy days coming up. So people could be nice in the comment section. That'd be awesome, but it's not going to happen. All right. First up, New Jersey and Buffalo. So this is a matchup between teams that are really kind of playing for pride, but also Buffalo, a lot of guys making their debuts tonight. I thought it was kind of hit and miss, which is understandable with so many new guys in the lineup, right? So it's Blackwood versus Luukkonen. Peterka and Tuck were on the first shift, so right away they're thrown into the game. Hughes with the net feed, that's cleared out. The Devils get a power play, and they score on it. It's Dougie Hamilton from Hughes and Hischier at 4:43. And 6 minutes into this game, Buffalo had 0 shots. So the Devils definitely came out as the better of the two teams. There's a press then by New Jersey at 7.5 minutes. Thompson had a rush chance, fires it wide, and then Jesper Bratt, he scores from Subban and Hughes at 11:48, because I think it's Jesper Boquist, or is it Jesper Bratt and Jesper Boquist? Doesn't matter. What was nice with the Bratt goal was he was patient. It was a rebound shot, and because he's patient and he waits a bit, makes Luukkonen commit, gets that goal, made it look easy. Sabres then try to answer. We end up with a fight between Siegenthaler and Murray. Devils end up with a power play. That was killed off. There's a crossbar for Severson that prevents it from becoming 3-0. And in the last shift, there was a press by the Devils. So coming out of the first period, this is a perfect road game for the Devils. And, all you have to do is build on it. But these are two teams that have struggled to build on things. So second period, Tage Thompson scores from Tuck and Dahlin at 33 seconds. Tuck fires it from the point. It's tipped in by Thompson. So Tuck with a point in his first game as a member of Buffalo. I thought, in what I saw, he looked good. So Thompson continues to be hot. Olofsson was denied shortly thereafter. However, there's a breakaway goal, and it's only the 7th shot of the game, too, for Buffalo. And Thompson scores from Dahlin at 3:17. So Rasmus Dahlin with a couple of helpers, Thompson with a couple of goals. Thompson then steals a play shortly after that. He's looking for the hat trick. Sabres really sharp in this period. They get a power play, but an aggressive penalty kill by the Devils kills it off. Hughes then with a rush. Jokiharju defends. The Devils press with 5 minutes left, and they did get a lot of shots in that second period. Bratt steals one. The Sabres defended that out. Bastian has a chance that's saved right at the net. Things get kind of scrummy after that. But it's 2-2 after 2, so even though New Jersey's outshot them in both periods, it's tied. Anything's possible. Third period. Sabres press at 3.5 minutes, and at 4:28 they put the puck in the net. It's Hughes scoring and getting his 3rd point of the game from Sharon Govich and Bratt. And it was a nice, weird bouncing puck that kind of went up and over and bounced. And anyways, Hughes puts the bouncing puck in. Devils then press for insurance, and they would get it at 6:50. It's Sharon Govich from Smith and Bratt. So Bratt with, 3 points, goal and 2 assists. Hughes with 3 points. Sharon Govich with a couple of points. So this is the work ethic Sharon Govich has. Nice to see that he gets the goal and the assist. That put them up 4-2. Devils press again. Zacha was denied, and there's some more pressure. Buffalo doesn't go away. Prow in his first NHL game gets his first NHL goal. Congratulations to him. Olofsson and Pesek with the assists at 14-13. Olofsson hasn't had a goal in, I think it's 15 games now, so he's struggling a little bit there. So big game for Prow, and it makes it a 1-goal game. They pulled the goaltender with 1:40 left. And then I'm not sure what happens here, so if you guys want to let me know in the comment section if you were there. There's a deck of cards on the ice or something. There was other crap thrown on the ice. This whole thing of throwing stuff on the ice, maybe it was accidental. Watching a bunny. Anyways, maybe it's accidental, but either way, it's not something that should continue. I understand the whole throwing jerseys on the ice stuff, but this deck of cards on the ice, it's a different one. But yeah, this has got... The one good thing about that was I saw security down in the area after that took place. So trying to figure out exactly who threw what and what happened. So if you throw these guys out of the building and you make it clear this isn't acceptable, hopefully that puts off guys doing that in the future. So your final score is 4-3 for the New Jersey Devils. They go to 11-15-5. Buffalo drops to 10-16-5. The shots, 11-3 New Jersey in the first, 18-10 New Jersey in the second, 13-9 for the Devils in the third. Final shots, 42-22 for the Devils. Power plays, Devils go 1 for 2. Buffalo just had the one power play, didn't score on it. Hits were 17-6 for Buffalo, makes sense since they were almost doubled up on shots. Blackwood saves 19 out of 22. Luukkonen saves 38 out of 42. Luukkonen played well again, but there's the loss for Buffalo. So they got to build on this stuff with Luukkonen. All right, next up, Rangers. Rangers and Panthers, and this really felt kind of like a playoff game, didn't it? You get Shesterkin against Bobrovsky, and it felt important right away. So early chances for the Rangers. Marchment then with a rush chance, he fires that wide. Game was getting physical early. Huberdeau has a chance that's saved. The Rangers get a power play. Shorthanded chance for Lundell. The power play is killed off. Pressed by the Panthers after it ends. The shots were 6 apiece at 8.5 minutes. I've got 3 bunnies in here, so anybody wondering why I'm looking under, that's why. They've been good all day. They've been in here all day. Reeves with the backhand, that saved as the Rangers press. They do know when you're distracted, though. So Panarin scores to open the scoring from Strome and Trouba at 11:08. That makes it 1-0 for the Rangers. The Panthers press in response. Lundell with a rush chance that wouldn't go, but he was in close. It was close. Lundell, I thought, had a very good game. Mammon can't bury one soon after that. Zibanejad was denied from in close as well. Rangers then get a power play. Kreider fires one wide. Good power play, but it's killed off. And so we go to the second period with the Rangers up 1-0. Florida's very good, though, when they're behind. Early press by the Panthers. They end up getting a power play. Good penalty kill. And it was killing off time at the other end. So the Rangers were pressing at the Florida end, which is the best way to have your power play, and they kill it off. But Lundell would tie the game from Forsling and Longberg at 5:09. Marchment had a rush that's denied shortly thereafter. Hornquist, he's denied as the Panthers would press, but the Rangers get the lead back. It's Zibanejad from Panarin at 12:43, and that was after a turnover. So turnovers weren't as prominent in the games tonight, I thought, as in last night's games. Maybe an extra day of practice. 4:21 left, things get kind of scrappy. Marchment has a chance that's saved and held. With 47.6 seconds left, things get scrappy again. Referee pulls one player from each team, so it's a 4-on-4. So you go to the third period, the Rangers are up 2-1. Again, Florida's very dangerous. Montour is a blast saved as the Cats press. Strome denied by Burakovsky. Panthers had a 3-on-2 that fizzles out. Forsling had a shot that was caught. And then there's a power play for Florida. It is unsuccessful, but not long after. Weegar scores from Losterinen and Marchment at 5:56. So that ties up the game. Huberdeau to declare then nearly connects. And you could feel the momentum had shifted at this point. Verhaeghe then gives Florida their first lead of the night from Gudas and Forsling at 10:31. And that was a wrister that went through Shesterkin by Verhaeghe. Very good wrist shot on that guy. Panthers then press for another, and they get it. It's Duclair with his 10th of the year from Bennett at 14:40. Nice rush goal scored there. Goalie pull, but then the Rangers ice the puck. That puts the goalie right back in. And then Kreider would score from Zibanejad and Panarin when they get back to the 6-on-5 at 19:15. And then the Rangers call a timeout. The timeout doesn't succeed. They lose the game 4-3. Florida goes to 19-7-4. The Rangers drop to 19-8-4. The shots, 15-12 for the Rangers in the first, 8-7 Rangers in the second, 13-10 Florida in the third. Final shots, 33-32 for the Rangers. And again, Florida proves, third period, they're very good at the comebacks. Power plays, 0-2 for both teams. Hits were 40-30 for Florida. Very physical game. Shesterkin saves 28 out of 32. Bobrovsky saves 30 out of 33. And yeah, there you go. The Florida Panthers win the game, and they start getting their groove back. Next up on the board, we have Nashville in against Washington. Nashville had a nice long winning streak going on coming into this, and of course, the break, it's going to hurt some teams' momentum. Again, it doesn't hurt everybody's, but it felt like Nashville didn't quite have what they had. And again, we have protocol lists that are long, and it's going to throw off chemistry, and maybe that happens on some level. Or perhaps Washington ends up having a really good game tonight. Either way, you can look at it either way. It's Saros versus Samsonov. Early jump for Nashville. However, Capitals open the scoring. It's Eller from Karlsson and Ovechkin at 3:15. So we're still on Ovechkin watch for him to break the Andreychuk record. Still hasn't happened. And it's weird. I don't know if maybe there's just something with the Washington power play right now where they're trying to get that record, so it's throwing them off, but just something's off here. Cross crease passing in, though, for Eller. Nice goal. Ovechkin then has a chance to go wide. Good shift by the Capitals there. Capitals get a power play. Ovechkin has a chance that's saved. That power play is killed off. Hathaway has a shot that's killed, or that's kicked aside. Hathaway was in the middle of a lot tonight. There was a lot of dislike between these teams right away. Garnet Hathaway's good for stirring that up. I've always been a Hathaway fan. I think he rides that line. I think he does a pretty good job of it. And the fact that you have Hathaway on the same team as Wilson, I think Hathaway takes some of the attention away from Wilson, to be honest. Carlson makes it 2-1 from Backstrom and Orlov at 13-11. The dislike escalates in the final 5. It was to the point where you could hear the referee yelling at them to knock it off, and not in a nice manner either. There was some really interesting language being exchanged between the players and the officials. The referees weren't having any of it, and they wanted these guys to really de-escalate things. So, Caps get a power play. Backstrom fires one high. Carlson has a shot that's saved. The power play does end, and then Dowd scores from Hagelin and Kempney at 18:52. So in Washington, in that area, they have a promotion where if they score in the final minute of any given period, you get a free 6-piece of chicken nuggets with a $1 purchase. $1 and over at McDonald's. So you go in, you get a soda, you get a free 6-pack of nuggets because they scored in the final minute. Dowd couldn't wait 8 seconds. Nice three-way pass. Again, no nuggets. 38.8 seconds left. The Predators get a power play. There was a short-handed chance for Eller. He fires wide, but it's 3-0 for the Caps after one period, and it looked like they were going to blow out the Nashville Predators. To Nashville's credit, they don't go away. Second period. Caps finish off the kill, but then Trennan, right after it ends, scores from Jeannot and Fabro at 1:23. Caps try to answer. And then this was weird. Borowiecki and Wilson, they get fighting majors. I don't know that they threw punches. Borowiecki also got the instigator. Don't you have to throw punches to be an instigator? It was bizarre. So that means that the Capitals come out of it with a power play for the instigator that, Borowiecki the whole time was like, what? And both of them, for the 5 minutes, didn't understand what they were getting. They were discussing it in the penalty box, and I think you could have put them in the same box because they were both confused. No actual punches thrown, though. And then Cunnin would make it 3-2 from Tolvanen and Harper at 7:03. This is where you can see on almost any whistle, there's pushing and shoving and just the general dislike. It doesn't get better when 35 seconds later, Nashville ties the game. It's Forsberg from Fabro and Granlund. So Fabro with a couple of helpers in the second period. Lots of slashes and hacks and no calls at this point in the game too. There's a lot of power plays in this game, but they started to just let stuff go. I think the referees were like, all right, we're just going to let some stuff go, and then they realized the error of their ways when they did that. So then we end up getting a scrum. We get a 4-on-4 after that. Well, the referee is still yelling at the players. Hagelin's denied in close. The Caps end up with a power play, so there's power plays going on all over. The Preds did kill it off, though. No chicken nuggets in the second period either. So you go to the third period. Hagelin has a tip that's saved as the Caps press. There's more dislike after the whistles that's taking place. Power play then for the Caps. That was unsuccessful yet again. And then the Predators get a power play themselves. Short-handed chance for Hathaway. He's denied, and that power play is killed off. 7:42 left. The Caps get a power play. And then with 34 seconds left in said power play, it ends up being a 4-on-4. And then we get a shorthanded goal when Nashville has the extra guy on the ice. Kuznetsov from Carlson and Oshie at 14:24. And then the important part is the Caps did kill off the rest of it. Goalie pull then with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. With 1:46 left, the Predators call a timeout. So, 6-on-5. Capitals, they get the puck. Take it down the ice. What does Hagelin do? Like a jerk, he scores the empty netter from Orlov and Carlson at 18:57. No chicken nuggets again for Caps fans. This is wrong. You're supposed to let him have... all he had to do was wait 3 seconds. 3 measly seconds, and it's chicken nuggets. He could have just waited, and 3 seconds. So your final score is 5-3 for the Caps. If you want to celebrate with chicken nuggets, you got to buy your own. The Capitals are now 19-6-7. Nashville's 19-11-1. Their 7-game winning streak is done. The shots are 11-6 Washington in the first, 11-8 Washington in the second, 15-6 Washington in the third. The final shot's 37-20 for the Caps. Power plays 0 for 4 for Nashville, 0 for 6 for Washington. Hits 25-20 for the Nashville Predators. Saros saves 32 out of 36. Samsonov saves 17 out of 20. You can't jump from here, sweetie. You're going to hurt yourself. All right, next. Can I help you? Okay, are you going to stay there? You going to stay there? Next up, Edmonton at St. Louis. Poof, Bunny's gone upstairs. So it's one. They've got 3 of them down here, so now there's still 2. But maybe the other 2 will kind of hide because I've already sent one upstairs. So it's Smith versus Binnington in this one. Mike Smith making his return. I thought he looked good. And I know the save percentage won't necessarily show that at the end of the night, but I thought he had a decent night. And St. Louis has got a pretty good attack. So Smith minus the stick early on, but the Oilers did manage to clear that out before any danger's done. Wallman had a rush chance that was saved. So Jake Wallman, normally a defenseman, playing forward tonight, I thought he looked okay. I think if St. Louis decides, we could use him as kind of both, I'm on board with that. So Thomas would open the scoring from Tarasenko and Kyrou at 4:03, which foreshadowed this line was going to have a very good game. Oilers tried to answer, however, at 6:59 on the 4th shot for St. Louis. Kyrou scores from Tarasenko and Krug. So it's 2-0 for St. Louis relatively early. Again, it's 2 goals on 4 shots. So rough start to the night for Smith. However, Draisaitl scores from Yamamoto and Cuckoo at 7:31. So Draisaitl, decent night for him. The Yamamoto line and his they were playing pretty well. And then the shots are actually 7-5 for the Oilers at 9 minutes. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has a chance that's saved. Smith then denied Logan Brown on a rush. Momentum's with the Blues. Smith making some saves there. Saad has a chance that's blocked. The Blues would press. The Blues get a power play, and the Oilers manage to kill it. So coming out of the first period, it is 2-1 for St. Louis, but the Oilers had to feel good about the fact that, it's only a 1-goal game, and Draisaitl's already on the board. Oilers get a power play in the second period. That, again, normally is a very good omen for the Oilers. That's their only power play. Draisaitl couldn't bury one in close. The Blues did kill it off, and there was only the 2 shots for the Oilers during that. Crossbar then for Tarasenko. The shots are 5-3 Oilers at 8 minutes. The Oilers press with 9 minutes left. There was a crossbar for McDavid, and then they tie it. It's Bouchard that scores from McDavid at 11:49. So both Draisaitl and McDavid now have 50 points on the season. So they've slowed down. They only have 50 points in their first, 30 games. So it's not bad, right? So the Blues then try to answer. The Oilers were pressing for the lead, but eventually it's Tarasenko, who loves playing against the Oilers. His career numbers would tell you that. He scores from Kyrou and Falk at 15:46. The momentum went back to the Blues after the goal. Tarasenko line was looking for another. So the Tarasenko line was very prominent throughout this game. So you go to the third period. And the Blues were smart. There was a delayed penalty on the Oilers, so they just kind of waited until the end of the period. They held on to the puck. They wanted to start the third period on the power play. So they do, and they score on it pretty quick. At 16 seconds, it's Saad from Perron and Krug. That's a power play goal. That makes it 4-2 in favor of the St. Louis Blues. Wallman was still impressing as a forward playing on that. I'm pretty sure he was on the 4th line. And playing pretty well. He was getting some opportunities, and obviously being a defenseman, he has good defensive game there. McLeod has a rush chance that's saved. The Blues get a power play. Kyrou fires one wide. Perunovic was denied during that. Oilers killed it off. The Blues did press after it was done. Binnington was sharp when the Oilers would press. Then there's a high stick that gives the Blues their 4th power play of the game. So the Oilers did kill that off, but it takes another 2 minutes off the clock. The clock's becoming a problem because the Oilers are down by 2. So the goaltender gets pulled with 3 minutes and 10 seconds left, and the Oilers press. They had opportunities. McDavid fires one high with 49.4 seconds left. The Oilers call a timeout. They end up losing this game 4-2. The Blues go to 18-9-5 with that win. The Oilers drop to 18-12 with the loss. So those 2 wins they had going into the break. Again, that momentum doesn't really carry over to 10, 14 days later. A lot of these teams about 2 weeks out from their last game. And of course, again, you've got a lot of changes to lineups too. So the shots in this one were 15-10 for St. Louis in the first, 11-8 Edmonton in the second, 10-7 St. Louis in the third. Final shots 33-28 for St. Louis. Power plays, Edmonton 0 for 1, St. Louis 1 for 4. The hits were 16-14 for the Blues. Smith saves 29 out of 33, and Binnington saved 26 out of 28. So overall, pretty good game for St. Louis. Edmonton, not disastrous start to this 5-game road trip. we'll see how they do from here. And 5 games, of course, is you give the asterisk of as long as all those games get played. But there you go. Now I need to change boards. And we move on to Philadelphia for their first ever trip to Seattle. And judging from the fans in the crowd wearing Flyers jerseys, there were some Flyers fans there. And the Flyers might be on the verge of turning things around, or they might not. It really depends on how you view this game. I thought Philadelphia for most of this game looked terrible. I really did. I thought they looked bad, and there were times during the game where I said, wow, so the bad Philadelphia team's back. And we'll see how things go for them. So it's Jones versus Grubauer. Early press by the Flyers. Yarncroke with a net feed, that's cleared out. Motions are rising early in this one, and I think for a lot of players, I mean, they've been sitting out for 10 days, 14 days, a week, however long it's been, right? And I think they're just excited to be back on the ice and anxious to get back into it. And so the emotions are going to be up. You're going to see some interesting plays right away. Yarncroke has a net feed that's cleared with the emotions rising early after that. Flyers get a power play, and James Van Riemsdyk, who I mentioned in the video about veterans that need to kind of pick it up, Van Riemsdyk did tonight. He scores from Giroux and Konechny at 4:44. Shots are 7-3 for the Flyers at 7 minutes. The thing is, at the end of this period, the Flyers only had 6 shots. So I write that, and clearly, the shots were 7-3 for Seattle. I wrote that wrong. They were 7-3 for Seattle. McEwen nearly makes it 2-0 shortly thereafter. Yarncroke has a blast that's saved. And the Kraken press. Then there's a power play for Seattle, and they score on it. It's Yanni Gourde scoring from Soucy and Geeky at 12:46. And then Seattle's looking for the lead. Alexiak blasts one wide, but it's 1-1 after 1. Second period. McCanna's denied early on. Seattle presses. Jones making saves. 5 minutes in, it was all Seattle. It was just wave after wave of Seattle Kraken pressure. Seattle then gets a power play. Giordano has a blast that's saved. It's killed off. Yarncroke with a rush chance. That's saved as well. The Kraken were at 20 shots. The Flyers had 8 at this stage of the game. So just showing Seattle was in complete control. But again, it looked like they were getting robbed by a goaltender at the other end of the rink. Grubauer denies Connaughton. Yarncroke then nearly buries one. Waves of Seattle chances still taking place at this point. Borgen has a blast that saved more pressure. 2:17 left. The Flyers get their second power play of the game. Shorthanded chance for Giordano is saved, and Seattle manages to kill that off. So we go to the third period, still tied at 1. Early power play for Seattle. Geeky with a chance that's saved. That is killed off. Seattle scores, and they challenged it for goalie interference. The challenge works, so I'm sure there will be debate about whether or not that should have been called back. There usually is with goalie interference calls, but they called it back. Wenberg then had a rush chance that was saved. The Flyers get a power play. It's killed off. No shots. And it was Lauzon that took the penalty there. Might have been kind of frustrated because he was the one that had the goal that got taken off the board. So McCann has a chance that won't go. The Flyers finally press with 8.5 minutes left. I thought that was the best opportunities they had in the game to that stage. And then Lauzon gets Seattle the lead for the first time in the game. I put that upside down. Look at that. I got to turn that over. Somebody's going to call me out on that. And rightfully so. The eyeball goes at the top. All right, so Lauzon finally gets that first one. That counts. Short side shot. And Larson and Yarncroke with the assists at 14:32. So Yarncroke gets a helper, which is good because he was prominent tonight. And so Seattle has a lead for 15 seconds. Yeah. Van Riemsdyk scores from Sanheim and Ristolainen at 14:47. And then the Flyers were looking for the lead after that. Things get scrummy with 1 minute and 45 seconds left, but we go to overtime. The Flyers controlled on the faceoff. Eberle had a chance that was saved. Seattle had some opportunities in that overtime. Jones stood tall. And then it's Provorov from Hayes on a breakaway, and he just deked right around Grubauer and put it in the net at 2:14. So Philadelphia survives this one, despite I don't think they played a very good game. They win 3-2. They go to 13-12-5. And Seattle drops to 10-17-4. They have yet to win in overtime in their history. And honestly, for me with Philadelphia, I think it's good that they win a game that maybe they shouldn't have, because there were games they lost during that losing streak that they probably should have won. So eventually the hockey gods make things even out. Shots in this one, 12-6 Seattle in the first, 11-5 Seattle in the second, 10-9 Philadelphia in the third. In the overtime, 4-1 for Seattle. Final shots, 36-22 for Seattle. Power plays, both teams 1 for 3. Hits 20-13 for Philadelphia. Jones 34 saves on 36 shots. Grubauer 19 saves on 22 shots. So yeah, there you go. Philadelphia, they get the win. We'll see whether or not they can, get some momentum going in this. They are above 500. It's important to be above, and I understand, and I've seen people say that's not a real 500. It's NHL 500, and I understand people saying, well, that's not the same as 500. The NHL it is, so I just go with that. Points percentage wise. Speaking of 500, I honestly this was a game that didn't start great, but it ended up being a really fun game to watch. Because, again, Vancouver is a completely different team. Shoot first. Shoot often. What a difference. It's Demko versus Gibson. Gibson comes into today with a 12-2-1 record and 3 shutouts against Vancouver. And early on, he looks like he's going to steal one. Höglander had a wraparound shot that was saved. Gibson was sharp while the Ducks were flat. 4 of the first 5 shots were for Vancouver. Ducks then press at 5.5 minutes. Demko making saves. Milano is a net feed. That's cleared out. Ducks get a power play. It's killed off. Only 1 shot allowed by Vancouver. Horvat, that is a chance that was saved. The Canucks press. There's a delay game called. The Ducks go back to the power play. Shortly after it ends, Sam Carrick gets his 7th of the season. Carrick's been quite the story for Anaheim. From Delorier and Lindholm at 16:26. I'm convinced I could do a video every week on players who are under the radar having pretty good seasons. And I don't think I'd run out of players. I think this year we've seen a lot of players kind of coming out of nowhere and having good seasons. And with the amount of protocoled players there are right now, that number could go up because we're going to see guys in prime positions that normally wouldn't be. So where you might have seen Zegras in this opportunity, in this spot, maybe Carrick's getting some of the ice time Zegras would have got, right? Fowler then crashed into the boards. It looked like it was his shoulder. It was a pretty heavy crash. He did not return to the game. I hope he's okay. Ducks 13-4-2 when they score first. The Canucks 5-11-2 when they trail. Scoring first, though, has not been anywhere near the problem under Boudreau that it was before Boudreau. You can't eat my shoes. No, you can't eat my shoes. We've been over this. You can't eat my shoes. All right, this is the last game I can hold on to you. With 2.5 minutes left, the Canucks get a power play. Or did they? No. What happened is Quinn Hughes stepped on the puck. So from one angle, for one referee, it looked like it was a trip. The other referee corrects him, and that's why we have the 2-referee system. That's what it's supposed to do. That's how it's supposed to work. Getzlaf was serving up some turnovers in the first period of this game, but both teams looked rusty. They both looked pretty rusty, didn't they? So we go to the second period with the Ducks up 1-0. The early chances were there for Anaheim. The Canucks then press, but they're kept to the outside. Solid defense. And also problems completing more than a couple of passes by both teams at this stage of the game. I put right there, rust an issue for both teams. Horvat can't bury one in close. Gibson saves the next Horvat chance. Fowler was announced at that point he wouldn't return for the evening. Manson had a slap shot that was saved. The Ducks get a penalty at 9:22, the Canucks' first power play of the game. There's a shorthanded chance for Carrick, which leads to it becoming a 4-on-4. So the Canucks take a penalty there. Canucks had a 2-on-1. Horvat's denied. Everything gets killed off shortly thereafter. That 2-on-1 was during the 4-on-4. Raquel collides with Demko, and you could tell right away OEL shoved him, and he did. So you're not going to get a goalie interference penalty there because OEL shoved him into his own goaltender. If anything, I'd have a discussion with OEL about shoving guys into Demko because that's a bad idea with the way Demko's playing. Then Garland had a break. Gibson saved on that. Garland had a great game. Shoulder save then on Garland with 1 minute and 30 seconds left. So Garland could have had multiple goals in this game, but Gibson was fantastic. So it's still 1-0 after 2. Third period. At 1:21 on a nice one-timer, Tanner Pearson, whose play has been getting a lot better the last few games, scores from Hughes and Miller. So at 1:21, it's Pearson that ties the game. Ducks look for an answer. Canucks get a power play. Pettersson fired one wide. Horvat had a shot that was saved. It's important to note that there's a lot of players right now that are taking shots for Vancouver that before Boudreau took over were passing rather than taking the shots. The confidence seems to be a little different right now. OEL has a drive that saved. And then this was kind of funny because it hit Gibson in the jewels. You can always tell because referees give a guy a couple extra moments to compose himself. It's almost as if a goalie can land on his head and they go, all right, well, he's okay. But if you take the puck below the belt, they're like, you need a moment. We're going to give you a moment. The opposition's talked to us. They understand you need a moment right now. So he got his moment. He was actually laughing it off. And then Gibson made saves after that power play was over. Garland couldn't bury one. Things get scrummy after because when Connor Garland runs the net, Connor Garland runs the net. Horvat covers for Myers on a turnover and played well defensively, which is one of the reasons we love Horvat in Vancouver. Because Tyler Myers, I thought, had kind of a poor third period there, and Horvat covered for him a couple of times. Hughes loses an edge and kind of crashed and was a little slow to get off the ice, so every Canuck fan everywhere went, please no. So that's why I wrote no, no, no on the board. Drysdale with a rush chance is saved. The Ducks end up getting a power play. Horvat cleared one. Dangerous power play, but it's killed off. So Vancouver's penalty kill, which has been woeful and bad and historically bad. Tonight it wasn't bad. Momentum's with the Ducks. Myers with another turnover after that. Hoaglander's then stopped twice. 2 opportunities for him. Gibson makes the save. Pettersson's denied. Great save by Gibson on that one. So Pettersson is shooting. So he's not getting the goals yet, but at least now he's taking the shots. And he's kind of shooting from wherever he is on the ice. That's important. The puck will start going in the net for him. And Gibson had a great game. Good back and forth action with 2.5 minutes left, but we go to overtime. In overtime, the Canucks control on the faceoff. The Ducks take it. They get a 3-on-1, which fizzled, and Miller takes advantage. He knocked it out to center ice, and then he chased it down, and on a breakaway, he scores at 26 seconds. The Vancouver Canucks have now won 7 games in a row. It's like 1988 all over again. They go to 15-15-2 at the overtime win. Back in 1988, the 88-89 season, they won 7 in a row. They didn't have a great season. They didn't even finish at 500. They made the playoffs because everybody made the playoffs back then. But that 7-game winning streak felt like it was really important during a kind of not great season. And then 89, they ended up getting eliminated in 7 games by the Flames. So this team kind of feels like that one to me a little bit. Although their season, there's a lot of time left, right? So the Ducks fall to 17-9-7 with the overtime loss. And the shots in this one, 8 apiece in the first. Vancouver had problems in the first period, but in the second and third, they were very good. They outshot Anaheim 15-8 in the second, 13-7 in the third, and in the overtime, they get the one shot. That's the one that matters. Final shots 37-23 in favor of the Vancouver Canucks. Power plays, Vancouver 0 for 2, Anaheim 0 for 4. Hits 30-20 for Vancouver. Demko 22 saves on 23 shots. Gibson saved 35 out of 37. So both goalies had very good games. And yeah, so pretty impressive for the Canucks. They're digging their way out. Now all they have to do is get above 500, keep her going, and maybe Bruce Boudreau will be right. He said 6 wins in a row sounds good, but 10 wins sounds better. I agree with Bruce on that. And there you go. And yes, I listened to I'm Still Standing tonight because that's what I do now after each win. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And I'm sure Jet will be interested in reading your comments as well. She won't. She's a bunny rabbit. She can't read your comments. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And do not forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Hey, Jet. I know, you're so well behaved. Thank you for being well behaved all day. All right. Thank you guys again. I'll talk to you very soon.